The Defender's Trap, The Mathematical Function of War by Richard C.J. Young. C.J. Young. Formal Theory. The Necessity-Impossibility Paradox of Modern Ground Assault. Mathematical Formalization. Act 1. The Equation of War. Minutes 1-6. For over a century, the mathematical study of war has rested on the work of Frederick William Lanchester. In 1916, Lanchester wrote a set of differential equations describing how combat power scales with the number of units engaged. His square law, that combat power is proportional to the square of force concentration, was the mathematical justification for 2,000 years of offensive mass. Mass your forces. Concentrate. Overwhelm. The equation said so. Lanchester tracked force ratios and kill rates. He did not track money. He did not track manufacturing latency. He did not track the weighted average cost of the platforms being destroyed, or the probability of a successful kill, or the time it takes an industrial base to replace what the battlefield consumes. Lanchester gave us the equations of combat. He left out the economics, and in his era, that was excusable. War was still human. A soldier was a man, not a unit. A battalion's combat power depended on morale, training, terrain, leadership, weather, and 100 qualitative variables that could not be reduced to a number. Lanchester's equations were an abstraction imposed on a fundamentally human activity. They described war the way a weather model describes a hurricane, an approximation of something too complex to fully capture. That has changed. War has been mechanized, and mechanization is what makes war mathematical. Here is the core insight. A human soldier cannot be reduced to a dollar cost. His courage cannot be quantified. His willingness to advance under fire depends on psychology, unit cohesion, leadership, and the moral weight of the cause. You cannot put a number on that. But a drone can be reduced to a dollar cost. A drone has no morale. It has a unit cost, a kill probability, a flight endurance, and a replacement latency. Every one of those is a number. A loitering munition is a unit. An artillery shell is a unit. A satellite is a unit. A guided missile is a unit. Each one has a price tag, a kill probability, and a production pipeline measured in days. There is no courage variable. There is no morale coefficient. There is only cost, lethality, and latency. This is why the formula works now, and could not have worked before. The mechanization of war has converted combat from a human activity into an industrial process. When every asset on the battlefield is a machine with a dollar cost and a kill probability, war becomes a system of equations. The drone does not hesitate. The missile does not waver. The artillery shell does not lose heart. Each one executes its function according to its specifications, and its specifications are numbers. The battlefield is no longer a clash of human wills. It is a clash of industrial outputs, and industrial outputs are measurable. Lanchester could not model money because in 1916, the soldier was the unit, and the soldier's value was not financial. Today, the platform is the unit, and the platform's value is entirely financial. A tank is $3 million. A fighter jet is $100 million. A destroyer is $2 billion. A shell is $400. A guided missile is 20,000. A drone boat is 10,000. Every asset in the battle space carries a price tag, and every price tag is a variable in the equation. War has become a cost exchange problem, and cost exchange problems are mathematical. This is the reason the defender's trap can be formalized at all. The mechanization of war, the drone, the precision munition, the satellite, the autonomous targeting loop is what makes the battlefield a system of coupled equations. Budget, cost, kill probability, firing rate, replacement latency, concentration exponent, transparency index. Every variable in this model is a number, because every asset on the modern battlefield is a machine. The formula is not an abstraction imposed on war. The formula is war, because war has been mechanized into a formula. This film corrects Lanchester by completing what mechanization made possible. The defender's trap is not merely a tactical observation. It is a mathematical function. A war can be expressed as a system of coupled differential equations, tracking industrial budget, weighted platform cost, kill probability, and replacement latency. And the load-bearing variable, the one Lanchester could never have imagined, is the concentration exponent driven by battlefield transparency. When those equations are solved, they predict that offensive warfare becomes structurally unsustainable below a critical threshold. That threshold is a number, and the number is falling. The implication is larger than any single war. If warfare is a mathematical function, and the function's output for the attacker is approaching zero, then offensive war is being eliminated, not by treaty, not by moral progress, not by international law, but by the structure of the equation itself. The mathematics may end what diplomacy never could. Act 2, the concentration inversion, minutes 6 to 6:11. The deepest insight in the mathematical study of combat is Lanchester's exponent. The square law states that combat power equals a constant times the number of units raised to the power alpha, where alpha equals 2. The exponent 2 means concentration is an advantage. Every additional unit you mass adds more combat power than the one before it. This was the mathematical engine of every successful offensive, from Alexander to Patton. Concentrate, mass, win. The exponent alpha is the load-bearing variable of the entire theory of war, and it has inverted. Here is how. The concentration exponent is not a fixed number. It is a function of transparency. Define a transparency index T, ranging from 0 to 1, representing the fraction of the battle space under continuous satellite, synthetic aperture radar, and AI-fused surveillance. The attacker's exponent is alpha equals 2 minus 3 times T. When T is 0, the fog of war, no reconnaissance. Alpha is 2. The classical square law holds. Massing yields exponential combat power. This was every war before 2022. When T reaches 1/3, partial transparency, some satellite coverage, alpha drops to 1. The linear law. Massing yields no compounding returns. Every additional unit adds the same combat power as the one before it. No exponential advantage. When T reaches 2/3, the critical threshold, call it T star, alpha reaches zero. Massing yields zero additional combat power. A force of 10,000 achieves the exact same frontline output as a force of 100, because everything beyond the baseline is instantly detected and neutralized before it can fire. You cannot concentrate. The concentration is neutralized before it becomes power. Above T-star, the modern era, 2022 onward, Alpha goes negative. The inversion zone. Massing actively reduces net combat power. Large concentrations create logistics choke points, thermal signatures, and target-rich environments for precision fires. Every additional unit you mass makes you weaker, not stronger. The equation has inverted. Concentration used to be power. Now, concentration is death. The world crossed T-star between 2022 and 2026. The Ukraine conflict proved that massed armored columns are detected, targeted, and destroyed in hours. The Iran engagements proved that fixed targets within an integrated air defense envelope cannot be struck economically. Below T-star, classical war works. Above T-star, the defender's trap is active. There is no going back. Transparency only increases. The exponent only falls. Act 3. The cost exchange cascade. Minutes 11 to 16. Now, the economic dimension enters. Define the cost exchange ratio as the weighted average cost of an offensive platform divided by the weighted average cost of the defensive system that destroys it, adjusted for kill probability. The weighted average cost is the summation of each platform's unit cost multiplied by its operational weight, the proportion of that platform type used in theater. The cost exchange ratio reveals the asymmetry that defines modern war. The attacker's weighted average cost scales exponentially. An offensive platform must be mobile, armored, signature reduced, and equipped with complex guidance loops. Each requirement compounds the cost. A modern main battle tank costs 3 to 15 million. A fighter jet costs 80 to 120 million. A destroyer costs 1.5 to 4 billion. The cost of survivability is exponential. The defender's weighted average cost scales linearly. A defensive system needs only lethality. It does not need armor. It is hidden. It does not need mobility. It is pre-positioned. A $400 artillery shell destroys a $3 million tank. A $20,000 guided missile destroys a $4 million infantry fighting vehicle. The cost of lethality is linear. Here is where the concentration exponent and the cost exchange ratio fuse into a single function. The effective cost exchange ratio is not static. It cascades. It equals the baseline economic ratio multiplied by the attacker's force volume raised to the power of 1 minus alpha. When alpha is 2, the classical era, massing drives down the relative cost of victory. This is the economic logic of total war. More units, cheaper per unit of combat power. But when alpha goes negative, the modern inversion, the exponent 1 minus alpha becomes strictly greater than 1. Massing exponentially increases the cost exchange penalty. Every additional unit the attacker masses makes the economic burden worse, not better. The attacker is spending orders of magnitude more capital per defending unit destroyed. The money converts into hardware that acts as a sensor magnet, accelerating the attacker's industrial bankruptcy. This is the mathematical proof that outspending cannot win. When alpha is below zero, an infinite budget cannot buy victory. Act 4. The production drain, minutes 16 to 21. The attrition equations, the coupled differential equations tracking the rate of change of each side's combat power over time, contain the variable that ultimately decides the war. It is not budget. It is replacement latency tau. The rate of change of the attacker's force volume equals the production rate, budget divided by cost times replacement latency, minus the loss rate, defender's volume times kill probability times firing rate. The same equation governs the defender. The equations are symmetric in form. The variables are asymmetric in value. The replacement latency for the attacker is measured in months or years. A lost tank requires months to replace. A lost fighter requires years. A lost destroyer requires a decade. The industrial pipeline for exquisite offensive platforms is long, complex, and brittle. It involves specialized foundries, rare materials, trained labor, and certification cycles that cannot be compressed by spending more money. The replacement latency for the defender is measured in days or hours. Artillery shells roll off automated assembly lines. Guided anti-tank missiles are mass-produced. Loitering munitions are manufactured in batches of thousands. The defender produces denial munitions at a pace the attacker cannot match. When the replacement latency ratio exceeds a critical value, the attacker's force reaches zero in finite time, regardless of budget. Solve the equation, and you get T-star, the time to attacker depletion. T-star equals the initial attacker force volume divided by the loss rate minus the production rate. When the loss rate exceeds the production rate, the denominator is positive, the solution is finite, and the attacker's inventory hits zero on a calculable date. This is why budget cannot save the attacker. $100 billion budget with a 3-year replacement pipeline cannot refill a bathtub that drains in 30 days. The production pipeline, not the treasury, decides the war. And when you combine this with the concentration inversion, when alpha is negative and massing actively increases the loss rate, the drain accelerates. The attacker reaches zero faster than the static model predicts, because every attempt to mass forces accelerates the depletion. The trap and the drain reinforce each other. Act 5. The territory yield collapse. Minutes 21:26. The object of war is not the destruction of the enemy's army. It is the seizure and holding of territory. Define territory gained as TG. The territory yield function, the rate of territory gained per unit of offensive cost, approaches zero as the attacker's efficiency coefficient approaches zero. This is the formal proof of the Karg Island result. The 2026 Iran engagements cost $11.3 billion in 6 days. The territory gained was zero. The territory was not taken because the territory could not be taken. The equation predicts this. When the efficiency coefficient is below 1, the derivative of territory with respect to cost goes to zero. Infinite expenditure yields zero ground. The Karg Island test is the maximum expression of the territory yield collapse. A constrained, fortified, fixed target within a minor power's anti-access envelope compresses every layer of the trap into a single equation. The attacker's cost-exchange ratio goes to infinity. The territory yield goes to zero. The attacker spends billions, bleeds capital, and leaves. The ground remains. This generalizes. Taiwan is the Karg Island test at continental scale. Any contested island, any fortified coastal industrial target, any fixed position a minor power has had years to prepare. All are tests of the same function. The major power cannot take the ground. The mathematics do not permit it. Act 6. The rational deterrence threshold. Minutes 26 to 31. If warfare is a mathematical function, and the function's output for the attacker is calculable before the war begins, then the decision to launch an offensive war shifts from a political calculation to a mathematical one. When a state reads the inequality, when it computes that its efficiency coefficient is below 1, it realizes that launching an invasion is a mathematical guarantee of self-attrition. This creates structural conventional deterrence. For a century, deterrence required nuclear weapons. Mutually assured destruction kept the peace between major powers by making war suicidal. The defender's trap achieves the same result without nuclear weapons. The cost-exchange ratio makes conventional offensive war self-destructive. The mathematics do what the bomb did. But for conventional forces, and for every conflict, not just great power ones. But there is a catch. Deterrence only works if the attacker knows his coefficient is below 1. Russia in 2022 miscalculated. Moscow believed its efficiency was above 1, that its budget, its platform superiority, and its speed of advance would carry Kiev in 3 days. The actual coefficient was below 1. Russia launched a war it was mathematically guaranteed to lose because it did not do the math. This is the information asymmetry problem. Offensive wars occur when attackers misestimate. As the mathematical model becomes widely known, as the equations are published, as the variables are measured, as the thresholds are calculated, miscalculation decreases. When every general staff on Earth can compute the outcome before mobilizing, the frequency of offensive war drops. The theory ends. Wars not by stopping the ones in progress, but by preventing the ones not yet started. Act 7. The asymptote. Minutes number 31 to 35. The defender's trap is not a temporary condition. It is asymptotic and irreversible. The cost-exchange ratio drives toward infinity as technology advances, because offensive survivability scales exponentially and defensive lethality scales linearly. The replacement latency ratio only grows. The transparency index only increases. The concentration exponent only falls. There is one more variable to name: the defender's exponent, beta. In a transparent world, the defender does not need to mass. The defender disperses. The defender's forces are already spread across terrain they know, in reinforced positions, communicating by hardwired lines. The defender's exponent stays near 1. The defender is immune to the inversion. The trap is one-directional. The attacker's exponent goes negative. The defender's stays stable. The asymmetry is structural, not tactical. It cannot be reversed by any platform or any weapon. This is why the theory may end most wars. Not by moral progress, not by treaty, not by international law, by the structure of the equation. When the mathematics of offensive war are widely understood, when every general staff, every defense ministry, every think tank can compute the exponent and see that it is negative, the rational actor abstains. The attack is mathematically dominated. The war is not launched. Lanchester gave us the equations of combat. Richardson gave us the arms race form. Schelling gave us deterrence. The defender's trap unifies them, adding the economic and latency dimensions Lanchester lacked, making the concentration exponent dynamic and driven by transparency, and making deterrence achievable without nuclear weapons. The function is solved. The threshold is crossed. The exponent has inverted. The attacker's efficiency approaches zero. The territory yield approaches zero. The production drain is finite. The deterrence is structural. The trap is asymptotic. The mathematics may end what diplomacy never could. The defender holds the ground, and the ground is all that matters. Epilogue. The obsolescence of offensive war. The concentration inversion represents more than a tactical shift. It is the mathematical bankruptcy of offensive geopolitical ambition. For over 2 millennia, military power relied on the logic of mass, concentrating forces to break an enemy's line. World War I temporarily broke this logic with the machine gun and artillery, creating the paralysis of trench warfare, which was only broken when the tank reintroduced mobile offensive mass. Today, there is no technological savior coming to rescue the offense. On a transparent battlefield, the combination of omnipresent sensors, automated precision fires, and severe industrial latency ensures that massing forces is no longer a path to victory. It is an act of industrial and human suicide. When warfare is stripped of human friction and reduced to an unfeeling, deterministic equation of cost-exchange ratios and sensor thresholds, the assumption that we can outspend or outmass the enemy dies permanently. This theory reveals a profound, systemic truth for the post-2022 era. Modern technology has structurally locked the defender in place and made aggressive war mathematically impossible to win. Once the current conflicts conclude, humanity will be forced to realize that the offensive template is broken beyond repair. The only logical conclusion of the math is that war, in its traditional sense, has rendered itself obsolete. The drone made war mathematical. The mathematics made the trap visible, and the visible trap may end what diplomacy never could. End narration. Methodological Framework Statement, dated August 5th, 2026. This documentary formalizes the mathematical model of the defender's trap, the necessity-impossibility paradox of modern ground assault expressed as a system of coupled differential equations with a dynamic concentration exponent driven by battlefield transparency. The argument that warfare can be modeled as a function of industrial budget, weighted platform cost, kill, probability, and replacement latency, with the Lanchester exponent made dynamic as alpha t equals 2, 3t, and that the cost-exchange ratio cascades as ETA-ANA T, ETA-AL0, and AE1 alpha, is, as confirmed by comprehensive review of military, industrial, mathematical, and journalistic literature as of August 5th, 2026, an original synthesis. The mathematical formalization, including the extended attrition equations, the dynamic concentration exponent, the cost exchange cascade, the coefficient of defense supremacy, the production drain theorem, the territory yield collapse, the transparency phase change, T-star, the rational deterrence threshold, and the defender's exponent asymmetry, represents an original integrated thesis synthesis by Richard C.J. Young. Building on Lanchester's Laws, 1916. Richardson's Arms-Race Equations, 1939. Schelling's Deterrence Theory, 1960. And Boulding's Loss of Strength Gradient, 1964. Intellectual priority for this specific mathematical formalization and the named theorems within is claimed by Richard C.J. Young, documented August 5, 2026.